and her alternative lifestyle called living off the grid. She lives without running water or electricity by her choice. 4 in Your Corner's Liza Fernandez is live at this off-the-grid home now that it's on the radar of Cape Coral Code Enforcement, Liza?
It certainly is, Patrick. This is the home we've been talking about, and it's just feet, really, from Del Prado Boulevard, a main street here in Cape Coral. When we first did the story, we kept the location secret, but the city of Cape Coral found out anyway, and the next day posted this notice to vacate.
I'm going to continue to bring this to the attention of anyone who will listen until, justice is served.
And Robin Speronis says what the city of Cape Coral did the day after our story about her off-the-grid lifestyle aired is unjust.
A code enforcement officer came, knocked on the door, then posted a placard that says uninhabitable property, do not enter.
A Cape Coral code enforcement officer posting this notice to vacate. No hearing, no nothing.
Putting a woman who lives by herself, who's a widow, out on the street without any notice.
The notice cites International Property Maintenance Code and states the property is unsafe to be lived in. Sounds like the city feels that this is an unsanitary situation.
How would they know? They have never been inside.
The city code compliance manager tells me he tagged the home because it doesn't have running water or electricity, although neither modern comfort is mentioned in the code cited by the city on the notice. Have you been living in this home since November 15th?
I'd rather not answer that.
Robin says the city is overreaching and threatening to take away her home, which she owns free and clear with taxes up to date.
Where is the justice? Why did they choose me? Because I was exercising my First Amendment rights of free speech and discussing living off the grid.
A local attorney has since agreed to pick up Robin's case for free, and the city of Cape Coral tells me if she can prove that she can sustain her life, herself, and this home without electricity or running water, then both parties might be able to come to a solution. Of course, we will let you know. Live in
Hey everyone, I just have 3 articles I'm going to cover here in this video, and they all have to do with mind control. U.S. government lobotomizes 2,000 veterans, and likely hundreds more during and after World War II, according to a cache of forgotten memos, letters, and government reports unearthed by the Wall Street Journal. They got the notion that they were going to give me a lobotomy. A World War II bomber pilot told the newspaper, to hell with them, he said. So he said the orderlies at the Veterans Hospital pinned him to the floor, and he initially fought them off. A few weeks later, just before his 30th birthday, he was lobotomized. Besieged by psychologically damaged troops returning from the battlefields, the VA performed a brain-altering operation on former servicemen and diagnosed as depressives, psychotics, schizophrenics, and occasionally on people identified as homosexuals, according to the report. The use of lobotomies by the VA, says here, was known in medical circles in the late 1940s and early 50s, but the VA's practice, never widely publicized, long ago slipped from the public view. Basically, they sever connections between parts of the brain then thought to control emotions. The Soviet Union's $1 billion psychotronic arms race with the U.S. This is from Medium. During the Cold War, the U.S. and Soviet Union battled on many fronts to demonstrate their superior technical and scientific achievements. Some of the battles were well known and well documented, such as the race to put a human basically on the moon and in space. One of the other ones was psychotronics, as the Soviets called it, or parapsychology, mind control, remote influence, and the such like. So some of the U.S. work on these topics, now public, has become a basis for various books, including one, the Hollywood film The Men Who Stare at Goats. The cost of the psychotronic arms race was $1 billion and only ended in the early 21st century when the funding bubble burst. Soviets focused on a number of areas, many of them like Project MK-Ultra, a 20-year CIA program that studied ways of manipulating people's minds and altering their brain function. It says that the Soviets called it psychotronics. The work built on a long-standing idea in Soviet science that the human brain could receive and transmit a certain kind of high-frequency electromagnetic radiation, and that this could influence other objects too. They report it as human energy. It could change the magnetization of hydrogen nuclei and stimulate the immune systems of wheat, vine, and even humans. They developed a device called a serpin that could generate and store this energy. Like MK Ultra, the Soviet program studied the effects of electromagnetic waves on humans and led to the development of psychotronic weapons, which were intended to alter people's minds. Although they say much of the research was discontinued in 2003, it's not clear whether Russia or the US has ongoing programs in these areas. But they say that there's over 500 researchers in Russia that are still active in the field of psychotronics. Also, it says, for instance, some of these documents on experiments performed by the NKVD after 80 years still remain classified. And this guy and his family actually came from that neck of the woods in the Caucasus or southern Russia, I believe. Tamerlan Tsarnaev, the Boston bombers, heard voices in his head. We've heard this before, but according to the Boston Globe, which was published results of a 5-month investigation into the attack, he believed in majestic mind control, which is a way of breaking down a person and creating an alternative personality with which they must coexist. He says you can give a signal, a phrase, or a gesture and bring out the alternate personality and make them do things. Tamerlan thought someone might have done that to him. Alright, that's pretty much all I have for you for this video. Thank you for joining me. This is GGN for Monday, December 16th, 2013.